Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the TAT Nation podcast, where we discuss the Spokane real estate market news and things happening in the area. My name's Connor. I'm joined today by Kyle Nash, and today we are going to talk about the advantages of owning a home versus renting one. But first, Kyle, how you doing, man?
Doing great. Talk about some numbers real quick. Last week, we had a net loss of 66 active listings. So again, we're kind of just dipping down. It's that time of year. We actually did gain a few more net of 14 listings, positive net of 14 last week. So we got a few more listings, which is cool. Pending also went down, and then closed went up. So when I see, closed going up and then pending going down, again, that just means market's slowing down a little bit for that winter season. So obviously we've got an election happening right now too. So a lot of people are, from what I'm hearing, they're sort of holding off on whether they're making a move or not, just depending on the results. Whether it's what they want or not, it's just depending on the results. So I'm hearing that kind of a common thread for the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
So
that capital gains stuff, I imagine if a president is elected and they're going to raise the capital gains tax, I'd imagine that would bring some people onto the market to sell to collect their
before it goes into effect. Sure. Yeah. You'd think. I think there's a lot less people that understand. And again, I'm no tax specialist, so I don't claim to know everything about capital gains and how that works. But generally, from the way I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you have to have a certain amount of equity in your house. So it really only affects those people that are making more than about $100,000 in equity on their house. So that's still quite a bit. And a lot of people that are selling their house right now have either been in it and they own it outright, and then they are going to be paying capital gains, or they bought it a couple of years ago. So they don't have $100,000 of equity, but they have a good amount to put down on a new house, or a brand new house that they're buying. So they're putting more money down as a down payment. So it's kind of, you can be strategic about it too. Like whether, because you're going to get double tax. You have to pay sales tax in Washington on selling your house. So that is a cool thing. In Idaho, you don't pay sales tax when you sell your house, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's a lot of taxes is a huge thing. So just depends on what state you're in.
Right.
So, yeah.
Sweet deal. So let's get into the meat of this. So we posted a blog today. Today's Tuesday. You're probably watching this on a Wednesday or a Thursday, maybe a Friday. But
maybe Saturday.
The title of the blog was Rent versus Buy, How to Decide What's Best for You. And in the article, it'll explain, what should you do, right? Should you continue renting, or now is it a good time to buy? And there's 6 reasons in here why you should buy instead of rent and, own what you have. So the first reason, Kyle, is rent will continue to increase. And there's actually a picture on there, and maybe we can throw it up on the screen right now and kind of show them. But it's a picture of the median asking rent since 1988. And I mean, this thing is just, as you can see on the screen, it's just kind of at almost a 90-degree angle, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So rent is continuing to rise, with inflation and things like that. So the dollar is becoming worth less and less. Therefore, price of goods goes up.
Right.
So do you want to add anything on to that?
Yeah, I mean, when home values increase, so does a rent. I mean, when somebody has a mortgage that they're taking out on a house, generally, if somebody just owns their rental property outright, they can afford to kind of they can afford and actually be that sort of supply and demand in a market where they can actually afford to have lower rent than their competitors because they are getting more cash flow. So there's a whole different aspect of rental properties that, people don't really consider. It's like if I own a house and I don't own it outright, I still have a mortgage that I have to pay. Right. So the higher the value of that property, and if the property taxes go up, I have to cover that.
Yeah.
And so that's why rents have to go up, because I also have to cover that, and I still need to make some money. I'm giving this opportunity for somebody to live in a house that I own, and I'm taking all the risk.
Yeah.
And they're living in the house. So at the same point, like, I also have to look at, okay, well, what are average rents in this area? And then I can kind of figure out, okay, well, if I can get away with undercutting a little bit because I own my house outright, I don't have to get as much cash flow as the next person, then you can sort of be competitive that way.
100%. And number 2 here is, this is a great one, freedom to customize. Yeah. So, my girlfriend and I, we rent right now, and that's a big thing. It's like we want to do all this stuff around the house, but why put money into something that you don't own?
Yeah. Unless you can work out a lease to own contract with the landlord, that sometimes that works too. So, and it really depends on your relationship with the landlord, because at that situation, you actually might be in a better situation to put some money into it and then say, hey, can I get free rent for a couple months because I'm the one putting all the work into this?
That's totally possible too.
Yeah.
But it's like, why you want to do all that work if one day you're going to up and leave?
Right.
You're out of there. Number 3 is privacy. So you can expand on that one. It says here, your landlord has access to your space in case of an emergency. If you own your home, however, you're the one to decide who can come inside. Given today's health concerns and around the pandemic, this may be a growing priority for you.
Yeah, I mean, generally a landlord just gives 24-hour notice if they have to stop by. So it's like, if you own your own house, you don't have anybody doing that, which is nice. So, I mean, that's pretty simple. Right?
Yeah.
So,
flexibility for relocation.
So that's a positive for owning your house?
It says here, if you're renting, it may be easier to move quickly should you have a job transfer or simply decide it's time for a change. When you're a homeowner and need to sell your house, this might take a little more time. Today, however, with the housing market's low inventory, this may no longer be the case. Homes are selling at a record-breaking pace, so you may have more flexibility than you think.
I actually disagree. I think if you own your house, it's really whether you're willing to put up with the hassle of owning it and then say, okay, great, I have a job relocation. Can I afford, do I want to be a landlord? And do I want to, take a rental and own that? And maybe the next place I'm going, I'm not buying a house. Maybe I go there and rent for a year, because there's a lot of benefits if you own your house and you have it as a rental. Whatever income that you're making on that, you get to claim that as income, and that would go towards what you're being pre-approved for the next year. So that, in my opinion, would always be the smartest move. Is if you have a job relocation, don't sell your house immediately, especially in a hot seller's market. If the value just keeps going up and you can get a good renter in for a year or two, and then you can establish that relationship and find a good landlord here that could help maintain that property, that would actually be, in my opinion, a much better situation, because then you still hold the equity in that house that you can use whenever you need to. And then on the positive of that too, again, when you're renting, you still might have to pay a lease break. So if you have to just up and leave because you got a better job offer and you have to break your lease, that actually might be more expensive for you because you have to pay your lease break. So, I think there's a lot of things people don't really think about, and that's something that I've when I meet with clients and they're like, well, we have a lease until June, so we can't really move out until then. It's like, well, what if I was able to negotiate that the seller contributes some of that to a lease break for you to get out of your house now if you can find something. Some people don't think like that there's some options for you, and that's again why that's what we teach agents here is there's always a yes. Now, there's always a way to get to a yes, but at the same point, maybe that yes is just unrealistic, right? So if I'm saying, if I want to get a lease break fee or that lease break is just way too expensive, there is a yes in there. It's just it's not feasible to make that work. So. Yeah.
Which brings me to point number 5 is building equity. And you pretty much just talked all about that. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Every time you're paying rent, you're just, building somebody else's equity, whereas you could be building your own. That money could be going, toward your house. And in a housing market like it is now, I mean, Jesus, man.
Yeah. I mean, even when I bought my house a few years ago, I was just looking at now, what I owe versus what it's worth. And I'm like, I've even taken out a home equity loan a couple of years ago, and I'm still geez, I still have a decent amount of equity put in there. Yeah. And now, because I've been in there about 5 years, this is when you're going to start seeing that principal balance start getting knocked off. And then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, I can actually see I'm making a dent in my loan, which is nice. Because the first few years, first 7 to 10 years is really when you're just paying a lot of the interest off. And then that's when it starts balancing out that you're okay, now I'm seeing good principal chunk getting paid off. So
it's huge.
Yep.
And the last point is tax advantages.
Yeah, I mean, you can write off, expenses that you improvements
interest.
interest and improvements and all that kind of stuff on the properties. So, there's a lot of benefits there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so it says right here, bottom line is it's up to you to decide if you prefer to rent or buy, and it's different for every person. If you'd like to learn more about the pros and cons of each, as well as the resources to help you along the way, let's connect and discuss your options. We have a lot of realtors here that can help you out with, you got questions, we got answers. So feel free to reach out. I'll leave the link to this article so you can go through and read it yourself in the description if you guys want to read that. I'll leave it in the comments section as well. We've been trying to do the Facebook giveaway stuff, but Facebook keeps shutting us down. It doesn't let you do giveaways for some reason now. It won't let us post the video, and it's getting really frustrating. So we're going to figure out something else to do from that standpoint. But, if you made it this far, we appreciate you watching.
Absolutely.
And, again, we just want to add as much value as we can to you guys and just help you out and keep you updated on what's going on in the Spokane real estate market.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. Just talk a little bit more about that. Noticing the views when we're doing that and putting it out there to get this out to more people to view it. And we notice it's like every other week that we do the giveaway, and when we ask somebody to comment, and all that stuff, and then you'll be entered in the giveaway. I guess there's the rule now, right? That you're that's telling people what to do in order to earn or to get a giveaway, and we just get taken down.
Yeah.
Or we get defunded or what? Not defunded.
Yeah, they're defunding us.
Yeah, they're defunding.
Deviewing us.
Nice. Yeah, they're deviewing us. So, it's just interesting. And it's frustrating because again, we want to do those giveaways. We want to do the $50 every other week and give those away to you guys. So we'll work on that for you guys and figure out how to get that out there for you. So awesome. That's all we got. We're gonna go watch this. Yeah, get some cheeseburgers. Hey, that sounds like a cheeseburger bird. And then we're gonna watch these election results.
Yep. So, everyone stay safe out there and go vote.
Yep.
See you next week.